revisit this sort of capability question. I suppose at one level, this risks just being a dating service, I suppose. So how do we, as you reflect on that, how do we ensure this sort of capability drive actually brings to fruition real gains?
There's one thing that we know about the free market, is that when the conditions are there and they're right in terms of the policy environments and they're right in terms of the mechanisms for making sure that they're achieved, that the free market kind of takes care of itself. So there'll be people who will start to see that this is a real opportunity. It's an opportunity to set yourself aside and have that little bit of edge over competitors. And so people start looking for those small little gains that they can make. They will seek out Aboriginal entrepreneurs and vice versa. Aboriginal entrepreneurs who can see this as an opportunity will look at how they can position themselves. So I'm confident there's enough people who are in this space that will be able to take up some of the immediate opportunities. The part that really interests me most though is not so much those that are ready and capable right now, but how we bring the next generation of those businesses along and how we develop them. And I think hand in hand with this policy is a need to invest in that space, invest in capability building. In some instances, creating networking opportunities that allow people to meet one another. You don't go into business with someone without knowing who these people are. And networking events are a great way of bringing different business sectors together so that people can meet. If there's mutual interests, then they can look at what opportunities and stuff there might be for them.
Right. So the traditional rules apply in many ways. Relationships.
Relationships matter. I think in all aspects of business, as they matter in all aspects of life.
Right. Just talking about the whole procurement piece, I suppose, from an agency perspective, have you got any observations there how agencies can really maximise the benefits of the new policy?
I think at first people will look at this policy and just think about the big contracts. They'll think about, the policy itself talks about mandatory set-asides from work that's valued between 80 to 200,000. But for most people, they can make a difference by the small decisions that they make. Whether that be from the catering that they purchase for a meeting, whether it be who prints a particular policy document. They are relatively small value jobs and in some cases will be sub 100,000, but they can have a big impact for those Aboriginal businesses and I think have a much bigger impact than what people would realise. Most businesses in Australia are small and the Aboriginal community is no different to that. What there is of the Aboriginal business sector is largely made up of small enterprises, and so making sure that we don't leave that behind in creating rules that really take care of the larger ones and the opportunities that come from them, but also not missing out on the other end.
Right. Federal procurement's a pretty sophisticated business, as we know, and there's tight rules around that. How do Indigenous businesses get that sort of skill set? What are your advice there?
I think this really drives to finding a good capability partner or somebody who can mentor you through that process. What we have seen to date is the most successful Aboriginal businesses to date have done that really well. They have found people who are willing to coach them through the process, help them, as a business understand what they need to meet to win that work, and then help them actually find ways in which they can develop that skill set. So that's been the real key to success, and so I think the only way to really build that is to find either good mentors or good capability partners, because it's not stuff that comes natural, and the details and the things that you have to know in terms of procurement, and it varies of course depending on the size and scale of the work that you're trying to win and the nature of the work that you're trying to win. So it's always best to find people who know the sector.
Right. And that's where Supply Nation, I suppose, comes in, is it, in terms of marrying those sort of corporates wanting to engage Indigenous businesses and Indigenous businesses wanting to be part of that?
I definitely see that as one of the opportunities. I mean, the corporates themselves, of course, are looking for opportunities to bring Aboriginal businesses into their supply chain. Diversity matters, and we know that diversity actually adds a lot of value for companies. It's also in their interest to make sure that a provider that they bring into their supply chain is capable of being in that supply chain. It's in their interest and it's in the interest of that business. And we've seen here in Australia a real willingness to coach and mentor people along so that they are able to meet those conditions. And certainly internationally, that's the success ingredient really, where many larger corporates understand that it's in their interest to get a good, stable business into their supply chain, and that means taking the time to invest from a capacity building capability point of view.
And in terms of understanding the opportunities, AusTender is the main vehicle where these things get put, but it's a pretty difficult beast to navigate. Have you got any recommendations around how Indigenous businesses can think about, if you like, the opportunities, the deals that are coming through, the contracts that are likely to come up?
I think it's fair to say that whilst AusTender is the platform that where you find the opportunities, relationships matter when it comes to awarding contracts. If you out of the blue apply for a tender and nobody within the department actually knows who you are, how do you give confidence that you can actually do that? And so relationships and reaching out to those departments, making them aware of what you actually do, building their confidence that you can actually deliver upon what you say you can, it really enhances your chances of being successful in winning. So AusTender is a platform, the final is different opportunities, and there are, depending on your industry, you can get thousands of listings out of there.
Right.
There's value in actually having a look at the past in AusTender, because there's successful tenderers. Look at pricing, what people have actually won, what they're delivering, and how do you compare to that. So if you're going to compete in a marketplace, the first thing you do is do your research, and AusTender can actually help you pull together the information. But fundamentally, it's about relationships. If you don't have them, then you really won't have much of an opportunity to win work.
Yeah.